Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Na lo side blim platoon pla mas lo looking sit down lo say you. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Question without notice below me. My question without notice directed to the good Madam Minister for Labour. Thank you. My questions are as follows. Before I ask the question, I'd like to also say that my question is in relation to one of the questions that was asked the previous day in response to a question without notice on the floor. The Honorable Minister for Labour again highlighted her ministry's desire to create 1 million jobs for Papua New Guinea by the amazing year of 2027. 1 million jobs. That is about 1/10 of our population. Mr. Speaker, this is not only ambitious and good for the nation, but it is something that I think Papua New Guineans and we all leaders want to see it come to realization. Having a desire is different to having a plan, because a plan must be accompanied by clear strategy and a definite budget is to implement it, otherwise it is just wishful thinking. Mr. Speaker, we all know very recently Elamotos advertised several portions and there was about 1,000 plus applicants who went for an interview at Lamana just for around 10 jobs. We also know from history, Mr. Speaker, that Stanley Hotel had 40 jobs out in the market and there were more than 3,000 people who lined up for the jobs. Mr. Speaker, my question to the good Madam Minister is, as a former senior public servant, does she really believe in that figure that she has been touting, or is she just content?
We have a point of order. Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader, we have a point of order. What is your point of order?
Mr. Speaker, my point of order is that the recently launched MTDP4 has clearly outlined where those jobs will come out from. So if the good Deputy Opposition Leader has not read through the document, he needs to do that first before he asks his question on the floor. Thank you.
Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader, you may continue your
my good friend, the Public Accounts Committee Chairman, if he was patient enough, I'm getting there. It's in page 15. Unfortunately, he's not patient enough to listen to my questions. So, Mr. Speaker, where did I stop? Content to being part of the government's propaganda machine, where everything that happens is either a new event or a new record. For example, yesterday or the previous day, the PM stated that the Australian Labour Mobility Scheme is a first-time event in PNG created by this government, when everyone who can remember will recall that the scheme was introduced to PNG as part of the Pacific Australia Labour Mobility Scheme during the time of the Minister for Labour and member for Kavian Open, Mr. Martin Aini, late 1990s. Now we have the member for Kavian again, the Treasurer, Honorable Ian Linstaki, is spearheading the same program. Also yesterday, in his response to a question by the leader of the opposition.
Honorable Deputy Opposition Leader, are you airing your grievances, or you all like asking?
I'm getting to the question.
When I ask your question then.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Otherwise, I would allow you to put out your grievances in the grievance debate.
Mr. Speaker, may I continue?
Yes, you may do so, but ask your question.
The 1 million target employment that the Madam Minister has been referring to is in page 15 of the so-called medium-term development plan. Is this just a propaganda, as there is no real accompanying strategy to indicate how the numbers will be achieved? Mr. Speaker, let me make it clear that the data shows our annual employment figures are somewhere between 2,000 to 4,000 annually. Even if this is raised to 10,000 annually, that will bring it to less than 100,000 employees. For example, does the Madam Minister really believe that 15,000 jobs will be created by each of the 90 DDAs just because the government has decreed that it must happen as it's stated in page 15 of the medium-term development plan? Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Honourable Minister for Labour and Employment.
Mr. Speaker, me too. Me like acknowledge him. You come to see you again. Na me talk welcome back lo. This la house blo you na you sit down lo see you. I want to thank the Deputy Opposition Leader for your question. It's a very good question because unemployment is a big issue, and we have a lot of our people who are unemployed. And I must, from the outset, say that we have a growing population. Population blayumiam go 12 million, economy blayumiam lik. So this government, the Mara Peroso government, our strategies in these 5 years and the previous 2 years has been to grow the economy and do a shift away from the extractive and to the non-resource sector. And the statistics that has been published by NSO, Central Bank, Treasury, they show that growth has been in the non-resource sector in the last 3 years. So I want something like him was opposition must go na consult him all this book, look where the growth is. So in terms of the 1 million jobs, you may talk long Mr. Speaker. Desire blow me na no ting blow me policy blow government na plan blow government. We call it medium term development 4. Talk us by 2027 we must create 1 million jobs. And Mr. Speaker, I must remind the good Deputy Leader for Opposition that there's a Vision 2050 that was launched in 2009. And there is also a PNG Strategic Development Plan where we are implementing now. It's a 30-year plan from 2010 to 2030. In that plan, it talks about creation of 2 million jobs in 30 years. Look at one government all gonna look la this la na try to address him this la. It is this government that Mibla looks at we have a target, Vision 2050 and PNG SDP of 2 million, and we have not done anything. So as a responsible government, that has been brought now in the next 5 years for us to create that. And Mr. Deputy, Mr. Speaker, is that achievable or not? Mitokunis asked yes. It's an ambitious plan, but it is achievable. Before I talk about that, we must talk about Deputy Opposition Leader and been Staff Forest Minister na. Now look, MTDP 4. We plug at 120,000 jobs block come up this la sector. Time been making suppose I'm been making work blong the rehabilitating or plantation and this la. At least some work by created. So before you talk to you think him yet one is something you know making before you talk to. So, Mr. Speaker, that target is achievable. Each sector has the target. If our Deputy Opposition Leader goes back and look at the strategies that we have now, downstream processing of our natural resources, investment in special economic zone, all this investment in Connect PNG, they will be creating jobs. Government is actually spending a lot of money in the economy, and that will trickle down to creation of jobs. And for our people out there, yes, we understand we have a population problem. I'm no wrong government law, population law, you may go big plan, but we are responsible and we have to do something about it. So, of course, yes, we are trying to address the issue of unemployment and that 1 million jobs. Deputy Opposition Leader, me all get a line law here, me responsible law work one time law creating this law. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.